Hey everyone, got another Saber video here for you. I'm breaking down a commission build. This one is for Brett, so hello Brett. It's been a long time in the making. We had a few hurdles to jump over with this one, but I think it's come together really nicely, and I'm hoping that you're happy with the result as well, Brett. So I won't delay anymore, I'll just get into it. This is an 89Sabers FallenV3, which is the broken pommel configuration, not the newer one, the Survivor style one. I really like this hilt. It's pretty lightweight, it's got a good kind of size to it. It's not as big and heavy as the Ogdo Killer, so the sizing of this one is technically incorrect to the game. This is a bit too small, but I kind of prefer this one because of the dual button setup, which is not existent in the Ogdo Killer. I can't remember if the Jimmy's Saber Junk Survivor has dual buttons as well. Can't remember off the top of my head, but this is a really good, relatively affordable saber. So Brett approached me a few weeks ago, maybe even a few months ago now, talking about getting another saber for his collection. He has a Aniflex from Chris over at Sabersense already, and he wanted something else. He wanted a variant of the FallenOrder lightsaber. So we talked through the options, settled on the 89 for the hilt, and then the chassis was something else. So I ran him through some of the things that we could do. We could go master chassis, we could do something very simple, we could just do a crystal chamber reveal or something like that, or you can obviously get chassis that have nothing and it's literally just hold the components. And we basically settled on something that kind of fit what he was after and fit his price point, which was the Taco Workshop or TheTacoShop HOT chassis, printed in all nylon instead of in the precious metals. So I got in touch with Carlos over at the Taco Shop, who was incredibly helpful in getting all of this set up and working correctly, because the dimensions on this hilt have changed. I'm almost certain of it. It may not be, it may just be like a bad batch or something, but the handle is snug. The hilt section, the emitter section is really snug. The dimensions are like way off. I think it could be because they now anodized the two pieces differently, but it made fitting Carlos's usually really nice chassis into this really difficult. There was a lot of sanding. I even had to Dremel out the inside here to make sure that everything fit smoothly. It was insane. It was so much work, but I'm really happy with the end result. So without further ado, I'm going to reveal the chassis, which lives down in the grip. It is a non-removable chassis. And to access it, you just unscrew. I will quickly show this bottom section first. So this chassis has a crystal at the end of it, and you can actually have that showing in a few different combinations down the end. So if I just rotate this very kind of lower piece, if I can get a grip on it, it's quite hard. I might need to flick it with something or use my actual right hand. There we go. So I can spin this lower piece all the way around. I can't even tell if it's really visible or not, but you can see this lower piece spins. Rotate it all the way around, and then it will come off as a separate piece, and there you can see the crystal right in the bottom, and obviously that all lights up and stuff, but then you can also unscrew this lower section, which completely comes off to reveal the kind of the lower section of the engine there that Carlos has designed as part of the chassis and the crystal. So there's a few different combinations. You can kind of, I quite like it open like this, with the kind of the broken grip section down there. I think it looks quite nice, but obviously it depends what kind of look you're going for. So let me just put this piece on for now temporarily. Screw that one back on. Okay, so yeah, like I said, to reveal the chassis, the entire grip section rotates. It rotates here at this central point, so you just give it a gentle twist. Like I said, everything is really snug. If you go to unscrew it and it feels tight or it feels stuck, just stop and like do it slow, gently. It's a lot less snug without a battery in, so it should come off pretty easily. There's a lot of threads though, so you have to go quite far to get there. All the way down, and then it slides off to reveal this gorgeous chassis. So like I said, this is traditionally designed to be printed in precious metals, in brass and nylon, but we went with a full nylon variant to kind of save some money but still get the visual appeal of having a nice kind of, he doesn't refer to them as master level chassis, like a hot chassis I think is the one he refers to it as. So this is kind of how it looks, and I've painted and done rub and buff on the pieces that would normally be brass to try and set them apart from the rest of the hilt. I wonder if I can get some more light here. There we go, see things a bit better. So there's that. It's got some accent lighting running down the side. It's got 3 individual accent pixels down here, one here, one here, and one for the crystal. And it's also got an accent strip running around at the connection point up here. So this thing, it lights up. It's really nice. So let's pop a battery in, and I can show you it lit up. This battery door here is really thin. Obviously, it's designed to be printed in brass, so it would have a bit more structural integrity. Instead, this is in nylon, so it's very delicate. So what I like to do is just kind of use my fingernail to get in the gap where it meets the chassis and just pull ever so gently. You don't pull hard, don't tug, try not to rip anything or twist it, and it comes away like that. It's on a hinge. That's the side that opens up, and then you can see the board underneath on that side, which you can access by removing this piece because they're both magnetized in place. So I'm going to pop your battery in. This is the chrome plated battery I did you. It is nipple to nipple, basically. So the bump on the battery absolutely has to go to the bump on the inside. For your reference, in this one, it's the nipple goes upwards. And when putting the battery in, Carlos designs his chassis so they're quite snug. So I like to lay the battery as flat as possible, rather than putting it in one side and twisting it down into the other side, because then it might not fit properly. So I just lay it as flat as possible, grab the battery and just give it a push. It should go in gently. There we go. Okay, gone in. Close the battery door, and that will click in place with the magnets. And then your kill switch is located just up here at the joint. Flip that on, and we're away. So as you can see, accent lighting is absolutely gorgeous. This chassis is really nice. I think one of the main things that Brett was after was a chassis that looked a little bit more exciting than his other one. The Aniflex chassis that Chris did at Sabersense is quite an old one, I believe, and it holds the components and it looks really nice, but it's only got a couple of accent lights, so I think we went for something a little bit more kind of flashy and showy. This would be a great display piece, to be honest. So as you can see, everything lights up here. You've got a spinning turbine ring up in the middle section, 2 accent strips that are mirrored on either side, and then 3 accent pixels, 1, 2, 3, down in the engine. Everything's wired independently, so the Proffieboard has enough spots for me to wire everything independently. This engine is wired as one blade with a separate sub-blade for the crystal. These 2 strips on either side are wired together. This strip is wired as a separate entity, and then obviously you've got the blade as well, which sits up here. So let's just run through some features with this off so you can kind of see how things behave. Obviously when you ignite, you'll get different animations. There's a couple sound fonts on here. I know we only originally wanted the Kyberphonic FallenOrder font, but because this build took so long, we had a delay in printing parts. I had to reorder some parts. I've just thrown some extra ones on there for free for you, so that you've got a few options. I figured we would just leave it to the one KRsabers font, and then if you want to change the color of that one, you can very easily. So I guess that'll be your main font, because we're looking at this as a character hilt. It's Cal's lightsaber. It should look and sound like Cal's lightsaber. So this is the first font that boots up, and it's the jedifallenorder font from Kyberphonic. This is what it sounds like. So you get a flash on activation, and then the animations change of everything. The crystal will match what the blade is doing. Speaking of which, there's your blade plug, illuminated. And then the aux button does all the things that you would expect. And the animations change and such. Press and hold to turn off. So the button setup for this one, I usually use the FET263 button prop, but instead we're using a modified version of the SA22C button prop, which Chris very kindly passed over to me, Chris at Sabersense, because Brett wanted this saber to function almost identically to his other saber. And what better way to do that than to get the guy who did the button config to send me the button config. That's pretty much it. And then let's just cycle through the font so you can see how the accent lights change on the other ones. So we've got the Survivor one on here. We've also got the Traveller, which is the Taran Malakos font from the first game, and we've also got the Second Sister from the first game. So I kept them all FallenOrder related. Taran Malakos. See, color change, different animations. So we're out of the hilt at the moment, so it's going to be quite quiet. Second Sister. But I will put the grip on in a second. This one's got a really nice unstable crystal down the bottom. And you've also got gesture features. Let's go back to the Fallen Order one. Here we go. So yeah, when you've got the battery in and you've booted the saber, then you can put the grip back on. Like I said, with the battery, it is a little bit more snug, so don't force anything, be gentle with it. It's I would hate for this chassis to break, because if it breaks, you're in trouble. So I'm just going to slide it over. It's like, it's not crazy snug, it just feels there's a little bit of resistance, so just kind of work it up gently, and then when you meet the threads, just start twisting ever so gently. One thing that helps with this one is to, when you're assembling the grip and putting it back on, is to loosen this lower engine, because in order to get everything to fit, the chassis had to sit just a touch lower, so the grip, the engine section down here of the grip will push up against the chassis too much. So I just loosened this a couple turns, and then you can start twisting the whole grip together. Again, you shouldn't be applying too much force, you shouldn't need to. It should be just kind of nice, kind of, what's the right word, intentional turns, basically. So don't be too rough with it. The chassis is really, really protected when it's inside the grip, obviously. So yeah, and like I said, if this engine section is too tight, you won't be able to close this gap up at the top. So because I've loosened this, actually I'll just take that out of the way. Because I've loosened it, I can now screw this one all the way up. All the way to the top. And then you can see how this looks with the illuminated engine down the bottom. Looks great. Carlos has done a really, really, really good job with this chassis. I just made it infinitely more complicated by asking for it to be printed in different materials, but he was very kind and did it for us. So I'm going to screw this engine section back on, get it on as tight as it will go. So now you can kind of feel it pushing up against the chassis, so don't screw this too tight because you'll scratch off the paint. And there you can see just the engine with the crystal poking out. And then I will screw in the other lower section. I haven't done any weathering to this one because I believe Brett's intention is to get it weathered in the future at some point. I did put together a 32-inch pixel blade for him, which will be shipped with this saber. Speaking of, it is a 1-inch blade, and the blade plug is just Allen keyed in place with the retention screw up here. The kit does come with an Allen key, so don't worry about that. I'll just unscrew this one. Again, with the retention screws, be careful, they're super delicate. I've had to do so many repairs. There's the blade plug. It's quite a nice blade plug. It illuminates nicely. I'll just put my test blade in. So, the way Carlos has designed this chassis, it's really loud. I've put together my fair share of 89 Fallens at this point, and this chassis, just because of where the speaker is positioned and how snug everything is in the hilt, it's pretty loud. So I'm relatively impressed with that. Brett did say that his other saber maybe wasn't as loud as he would like it to be, so I've really done my best to try and make this one as loud as possible without distorting the sound too much. But yeah, like this, and you can see, and I need to get the buttons to hand because I don't actually know them off the top of my head. I want to find a color change so I can show you that. What is color change? Hold and twist the hilt while on, pointing down. No, that's the one button setup. Apologies, we'll get there eventually. Color change, there it is. Hold and toggle auxiliary while it's on. Okay, so let's ignite, and you can hear how it sounds when it's resonating through the grip. Oops. Probably help if I seated the blade properly, wouldn't it? Again, with all the Neopixel blades, make sure that you're seating them against the pins. Not like I just didn't do. What am I doing? There we go. Better? Yes, it is. There we go, do the retention. It has been a long day. See, this is not my day job. I also have to work a day job as well. But I'll be glad to get this one out to you, Brett, because I know you've been waiting for a while. So here we go. There we go. It's nice and loud. All the usual Proffie features. Let's change the colour. Let's go with green. Or there we go. It's great. It's really nice. And then obviously I've made it so that all the accent pixels all update based on the color that you've currently got selected for the sound font. Let's just run through Second Sisters as well, because I think hers looks great.
Second sister.
Sounds amazing too. Her sound font is incredible. Just quickly run through the components that are in this, because I didn't do that already. Bunch of accent pixels, some Neopixel strips, a Shtok V3 blade connector, Proffieboard version 2.2, not 3.9, the Taco HOT chassis, and then 2 momentary switches that live up inside 2 tactile switches. I had to design and print a new switch holder for this because, like I said, the dimensions of this hilt were just all out of whack. So Carlos's original switch retention wouldn't fit. It wasn't working. It wasn't holding the switches properly. So I designed and printed a new holder up there, and now they're nice and clicky, and they respond really nicely, which is what I like. When taking the grip off, again, just loosen the engine down a little so it's not scratching. Actually, you can take it off entirely. Why not? There we go, and then you can see again the lit engine down the bottom. You can kind of see some of the pixels down inside there, just peeking through. And I'll unscrew the grip. Again, remember, just like nice, slow, determined twists. Don't yank it, don't pull it. It will come off, I promise. Overall, really happy with this one. It made a change from doing the kind of the basic Fallens that I'm used to. This was really fun to put together. I hope Brett's happy with it. This is a really great kind of, not even a mid-level saber, this is kind of a really nice display piece. So I hope it makes a fine addition to his collection. I was really happy to put this one together for you, Brett, so hopefully you enjoy it. Last thing I will say about the hot chassis itself, let me just power this off by flipping the kill switch. There we go. Is that getting the battery out, because it's so snug, can be a little bit difficult sometimes. So what I like to do is, I'll just show you how I do it now. Again, opening the battery door, just using like my fingernail to kind of roll it open, not pulling, not twisting. Get something non-conductive. Here I have a pair of coated tweezers, and basically what I do is I just push it in at the positive end of the battery and just pry the top end out ever so slightly. It doesn't take much force. It shouldn't take much force. Just switch over so you can see what I'm talking about. So the tweezers literally just go in here, and then you gently pull away, and the battery comes out like that, and then you can grab it with your finger, because otherwise it's going to be a nightmare to get out every time. This battery's obviously fully removable, rechargeable. Do with it as you would any other battery. Don't keep it in the saber if you're not using the saber for an extended period of time. But yeah, that's pretty much it. When I ship this to you, Brett, it will have the shrouds removed so that it fits in the box. There's plenty of explanations on how to refit the shrouds. There's just 2 screws that live inside, so you basically come in with an Allen key. You slide the shrouds into place, come in with an Allen key down the center of the emitter, and just gently kind of hook into those grub screws and twist them until they hold the shrouds in place. Do that without a battery inside, because if there's a battery inside and you accidentally make contact with the pins on the PCB with the Allen key, could short something, and that'll be bad news. I'm pretty sure that covers everything. Like I said, this one was really fun to put together. It's really unique. It's got a really nice kind of look to it. While obviously it would have been amazing to do the chassis in full brass, it just wasn't in Brett's budget, and I try and cater to as many different budgets as possible. Eco CC, or in this case, Master Chassis printed in nylon by Carlos over at TheTacoShop very, very kindly. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you've got any other questions, Brett, or any problems, let me know and I will fix them and get this out to you as soon as I can, along with the blade that I put together for you. But I hope you're happy with it. Hope you enjoy swinging it around. Obviously, none of my sabers are rated for dueling unless explicitly stated otherwise, so please don't smash it against things, because it will break. But there you go. The 89Sabers FallenV3 with the Taco Hot Shop chassis printed in nylon, and just about as many accent lights as you could possibly want. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully see you again soon. May the force be with you. Take care. Bye.